How to break art block. What causes art block? I have 3 suggestions of how you can try to avoid and overcome art block when it strikes. First, let's look at what the cause is. One of the main causes of artist block is negative thinking, that you may have those voices in your head saying, I can't do this, it's not good enough, it's not going to be good enough, no one's going to like it. These kinds of negative thoughts really hinder the creative process. Well, of course they would. Would you want to try to do anything great when somebody's telling you that it's going to be terrible? So first, you want to try to avoid having these thoughts in the first place. And how can we do that? You need to build some confidence in your art. If you're just starting out, or even if you're a seasoned pro, it is really important to watch out how you talk to yourself about your art. I find that for me, the times when I get art block are times that I have been looking on the internet at other people's art. This can be really inspiring, but it can also be discouraging as well. Now, don't get me wrong here. I really love that you like watching my art videos. I love checking out other art on YouTube and on Instagram as well. But sometimes it can be discouraging to see people with huge followings, or maybe you feel like your art isn't as good as theirs. These are things that can really hinder the creative process. So I believe that it's best to save your social media time till after you've done your creative time. The 3 tips I'll give you will help you when it does rear its evil head. But how do you build confidence in your art? Well, it takes a lot of practice, and it also takes a little bit of mental ingenuity. We have to be our own cheerleaders. We have to tell ourselves that our art is good. You are always going to be your hardest critic. So learning to overcome that and accept the art that you make without letting the critic tear you down, even if you did a really good job. Take it from me, this is not easy to do. I'm still trying, and I've been working at it for 10 years. So what to do when it does strike? The first thing that I've done to try to avoid getting artist block is make it a habit. Setting regular times to do your art can really help avoid having art block. If you do it the same time each day, the same time each week, or even the same time once a month, you can start to get yourself in the habit that when that time of day comes or that day of the week comes, your mind starts to get ready and into the zone for creating. Number 2, a mundane art task. So it's that time of day when I'm going to create some art and I still can't seem to get myself in the mood for making art. This is where I take on a mundane art task. For me, it's gessoing panels. So anytime that it's time for me to start painting and I can't quite get going, I'll just gesso another panel, even if I'm not starting a new painting. I'll just start gessoing a panel, and once I do a single layer, then it kind of gets me in the mood and I'm more ready to start. The trick with mundane task is it needs to be something that you can do regularly. It also needs to be art related. So some other examples: working on framing or matting. Perhaps stretching a canvas could be your mundane task. It has to be something that's not very important or people aren't going to see. So with gessoing, nobody's going to see it, so nobody's really going to know if I did a good job or not. You could do quick sketches is also another example, because it's not something you're going to present to people, so it doesn't really matter if it's not good. This is just something you're doing to get yourself in the zone, so you can just crumple it up and throw it away. For my secret weapon against art block, number 3, a trigger. This is something that will trigger you to get into the creative mood. It should be something you can do every time you're going to start creating, so that by doing this one thing, you're telling yourself it's now time to do art. For example, you could light a candle. You could turn on a special light. I have found that doing things that trigger other senses besides visual are really important because it changes the way that your mind is thinking. So a great example is lighting a scented candle or incense. And you always want to make sure to use the same scent every time. It could also be a particular music playlist that you want to listen to every time. Always make sure that it starts out with the same song. So even just choosing one song that you're going to play, this could sort of be like your anthem to get you started painting. My trigger is audiobooks. I especially like to listen to narrative fiction so that I have a plot that I can follow. And that way when I stop for the day, as soon as I come back the next day or even the next week, right when I hit play and I hear the characters and I hear that narrator, it gets me right back into the mind frame that I was in the last time that I was painting. One reason why I think audiobooks work so well is it causes me to have to listen. And if I'm listening to the book, I can't exactly be thinking negative thoughts. Even for me, sometimes art block is a problem. And if I've gone more than a handful of days without painting, then I know it's a real problem. And that's when maybe I'll start journaling or doing something to really try to figure out what's blocking me and why I'm having such a hard time. One of the best things you can do to build confidence in your art is keep a piece that you really love next to you and near your workspace so that every time you sit down to work, you see this piece that you really feel like you did a great job on and you're proud of, so that way you will be inspired by your own creativity. And if you made an awesome painting once, guess what? You can do it again. I wanted to show you this failed time lapse so you could see that you don't always have to make a perfect painting. It's okay to make mistakes. Sometimes you just gotta make some bad paintings so you can move on to the next great one. I hope you found this helpful and you learned a couple things that might help you get through your artist block. But the main thing is just try to be nice to yourself. If you're learning, and even if you're not, even if you know how to paint, just be nice to yourself and allow yourself to do what you know how to do. Subscribe to my channel for more helpful tips on making art and being an artist. Check out my video about gessoing your panels to see what a great task it is and time consuming as well.